तावत्सत्यं जगद्भाति śuktikārajataṃ yathā यावत् न ज्ञायते ब्रह्मा sarvādhiṣṭhānamadvayam. The Jagat appears to be true so long as Brahman, the substratum, the basis of all this creation, is not realized. It is like illusion of silver in the mother of pearl. This is the second verse dealing with the phenomenon of the world. Like its predecessor, the previous verse, it continues along the same lines, but using a different simile. In the last shloka, we learned that the world is illusory, just like the dream, and is valid only as long as one is ignorant of the true nature of self. Acharya is explaining the same here through the analogy of mother of pearl and silver, that the world appears to be as real as long as Brahman is not known as the substratum of all. The oyster shell, which is so smooth and reflective, shines brilliantly in the sunlight, giving the onlookers an image of silver. Just like how the shell is mistaken as silver, the world is also mistaken as real by the non-knower of Brahman, that is, by the ignorant ones. Like the silver that was just an illusion, all the names and forms have to be known as illusion only. And that which is the basis of this illusion, the substratum of the world, has to be known as Brahman only, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Also, we have to note that the silver never existed at any time, and it is only the mind that created the image of silver with the mother of pearl. Similarly, the world is only a creation of the mind, while the ever-present non-dual self can never go through any actual changes. Brahman is ever-present even before the conception of the world by the mind, as the substratum of the world which the senses perceive it, and also after the realization dawns on the non-dual existence of self. Hence, it is the only absolute reality, and the world is just an illusion. Like the silver in the pearl or the snake in the rope, all names and forms of the world are only an illusion on self. For the ignorant ones, the world of duality appears to be real only till this truth is not known. The various forms, likes, dislikes, all originate only due to this ignorance. All the differences as names and forms exist in the mind of an ignorant one only. Our extroverted minds steeped in the 6 negative qualities mentioned in the previous verse. Raga, Dvesha, Kama, Krodha, Ityadi. And this mind, steeped in these qualities, find delight in it. That delight is not without its opposite quality, pain and sorrow. Nothing comes free. The delight comes with sorrow as well. The lesson of pain, which always accompanies pleasure, has the ability to turn the mind momentarily inward to question the basic reality of the world. Pain occurs in our mind in the subtle part. Pain turns our attention to the shell rather than the silver, to the reality rather than the illusion. That is the most favorable moment to make a complete turnaround in our values in life, like it happened to the Tulsidas. In that moment when wife questioned him, maybe we can take for our own lesson, our own understanding. If Tulsidas ji has missed that moment, maybe he would have again got into the attraction, affinity towards his wife. That in that moment he used that moment favorably to undergo a total, irreversible change within himself and went on to become Tulsidas. But however, if we are not aware enough to learn from pain, then that moment passes and the delusion of silver grips us again. Exactly what was explained in the Tulsidas' context. Forgetful of sorrow and pain, we resume our mad hunt for pleasure in the world. The silvery attractions draw us outward once more. We place value on them repeatedly, considering them to be precious and filled with the promise of pleasure. Pain's lesson goes by unheeded, unattended. The Jagat not only refers to physical objects of pleasure, but also the realm of feelings and emotions which are like silver to the mind, and the realm of thoughts, ideas, and ideologies which are all like silver to the intellect. Brahman is ever present even before the conception of the world by the mind, as the substratum of the world. Hence, it is the only absolute reality, and the world is just an illusion. This world is a play of colors and sounds. The sense universe is a play of nerves. It is false show kept by the jugglery of Maya, mind and nerves. You are deluded or deceived by the senses. That which is changing and perishable cannot be real. There is neither mind nor matter, neither world nor creation in reality. Brahman alone shines in his pristine glory. This is the absolute truth. The whole of experience consisting of perceiver and perceived is merely an imagination of the mind. That which exists only in imagination does not exist in absolute reality. Duality consisting of subject and object is the creation of the mind and the external senses. As long as there is faith in causality, the world is eternally present. When this faith is destroyed, the world is nowhere. That which is nothing in the beginning and in the end does not necessarily exist in the present as well. Objects are like ordinary illusions, though regarded as real. A liberated sage only has no world. A liberated sage only, has no world. This world or illusion or is an illusion for a man of discrimination. For a passionate man who is ignorant, this world is a solid reality. He is immersed in samsara. This world is everything for him. There is nothing beyond this world. Because it is said that there is no world, young aspirants should not give up the practice of karma yoga. People in whom a little dispassion has dawned should not abandon the world. This world is the best teacher. Sage from Ananda Kutir saying all this. You will have to learn many lessons from this world. Remain in the world, but be not worldly minded. View the world as self or Brahman only. Change your angle of vision. You will be happy and wise. If you constantly keep before the mind the idea that the world is unreal, you will develop this passion and a burning desire for liberation. There is deep silence behind the noisy sounds of this world. This deep silence is Brahman or Supreme Self. If you withdraw your attention, there is no sound. Sound also is a mental creation. When the mind is connected with the organ of hearing, there is sound. When the ear is withdrawn from its object or when the mind is disconnected from the ear, there is no sound. Sound is a trick of the mind and the ear. For those few who can believe really, while he sat in the bhajan yesterday, in the depth of the silence, though the entire center vibrantly was singing, following all faster bhajans, and the sound was reaching its crescendo. For 2 or 3 or 4 of you who are hearing this, anyway only 4 or 5 will be hearing, he supposes. There was absolutely no sound for him. The ears would of course hear, but they carried nothing to the mind. Because the mind itself was not there. There was absolute inner silence of the self. So these are all not theory which are there mentioned only in the scriptures. Practically one can exist in that manner. One can be in the noisiest crowd and yet be most silent inward. Describing the unreality of the world, sage beautifully writes these lines. Having bathed in the waters of the marriage. First of all, marriage has no water. Crowned with the garland of sky flowers. There are no flowers which are existing in the sky. The son of the barren woman is going. Barren woman cannot bear any son. Armed with a bow made of a hare's horn, a hare that does not have a horn. How true it is. The world also is as real as this story, or we can say as unreal as the story, what the story wants to convey. If the waters of the marriage, flowers of the sky, son of the barren woman, horn of hare are all true, then the world can also be true. Brahman, or the Supreme Self, is the only living reality. He is your innermost self, or Atman. He exists in the past, present, and future. He is self-luminous, self-existent. He is existence, knowledge, and bliss, absolute Satchit Ananda. He is the substratum or support for this world. He is immortal, all-pervading, indivisible, eternal, birthless, changeless, deathless, timeless, and spaceless. Purify your heart. Realize this Brahman through meditation, attain freedom, immortality, and eternal bliss. Thus, we learned about the jagadbhāti, brahma-satyam, the unreality of the world and the reality of self through these two shlokas, the earlier one comparing the experiences in the world to the dream experiences, and this shloka comparing the world samsara to the apparent silver coloring on the shell. We learned that the world appears to be real only as long as the real nature of the self is not known. Dream experiences appear to be true until the time one wakes up. The silver color on the shell appears to be true till the time one really recognizes the true nature of the shell, which is no color in itself. All these similes come from the tradition of the time. They were commonly used among people. Hence, by using these amazing similes, Shankara was able to get his ideas accepted by the people of his time. But the beauty is that they are so minutely appropriate that even to this day, their suitability has not altered. Science may improve. No wonder a time may come when we are announced that real estates, villas are available in this space. Anything can happen with science. Any technological improvement cannot be ruled out. Any advancement in our quality of life cannot be ruled out. But whatever changes, the reality about the unreality of this world and the absolute reality of the Brahman, pure existence consciousness, this will never change. Whatever changes happens in the world will always be an illusion. Samsara will always be an illusion. Brahman ever exists as the only true, ageless, birthless, deathless, changeless existence. This we know is Prakarana Grantha. Okay. So, in the initial teachings in the Vedanta, it is indispensable, it is very important that a spiritual aspirant starts with these truths, these lessons about the illusory nature of this world and the real nature of self. Directly, he cannot jump to realize that Jivo Brahmaivanah Para. There is no difference between Jiva and Brahman, or there is no illusion in the samsara at all, or more precisely, there is no creation at all. Directly, this cannot be realized. Absolutely impossible. So you have to start off disowning this samsara, this illusory world, and rushing towards the real self. And only when self is realized, and only when one abides in self, then that state would be existed upon. Absolutely, there is no doubt in that. For even a second, the Jivan Mukta or an Avadhuta cannot come down from that state of self-abidance to view and judge about this creation or this world, or even to perceive or experience this world. Only at that state one exists as the testimony to the absolute highest truth of Ajatavada, that there is no creation at all. In the beginning stage, that cannot be even talked about or debated or discussed or contemplated. So, the starting for the edifice of Vedanta to be built and lived, the foundation is that the world is the samsara, the world is illusory. As the silver in the shell, as the experience in the dream, and as we proceed, as the snake mistaken to be the rope. Many analogies would support this truth, this understanding. So, after getting convinced at the Mananam level, We have to discard this illusory world. Detach to attach. We have to discard this samsara, then what we have to own as the real, the self, Atman. Hari Om.